Are electromagnetic fields really affecting your body? Does being near electronic devices affect your physiology? If so, how? Most people seem fine. But will you age better if you become one of those weird people who turns their Wi-Fi off at night or won't hold their phone up to their head to talk? You're listening to the Health Courage Collective podcast, episode 239. Does living in a wireless world affect how you age? Part 2. Welcome to the Health Courage Collective podcast, the show for women who are too busy to slog through hours of generalized, inapplicable, and often contradictory health information, but too smart to ignore that a few minutes of focused attention now can prevent years of suffering in the future. I'm your host, Christina Hackett, a pharmacist who doesn't want you to live on prescriptions, a certified coach specifically trained to maximize your potential, and a compulsive learner obsessed with preventative, cutting-edge, holistic, and integrative medicine. I'm on a mission to increase your physical and mental resilience so you can fearlessly look forward to your next 40-plus limitless years. Your time is now. Let's go. Hi there, and welcome to another episode. Thank you so much for being here today. Last week, we decided to kind of stop in the middle because it was getting kind of long talking about EMFs. So today we're going to finish up that episode, and we have a lot more interesting stuff to talk about. So if you missed it, go back and listen to it. EMFs are electromagnetic fields. Some people call it electropollution or electrosmog. We talked about how our bodies are electrical and they can pick up on the electromagnetic radiation of all of our electronic devices in our environment. And how the main point of thinking about all this is that when your body does pick up on electrical signals, it can be this super low level but constant stress on your body. And adding chronic stress can make you less resilient in your life. So if there are simple and easy things that we can do to decrease that exposure to the electromagnetic fields and decrease the stress on our body, then that will make us more resilient. We talked about all the different electronic devices and their placement relative to our body and how we can tweak some of those things really easily. Many of the EMF problems inside of homes are due to poorly done electrical work, shared neutrals, waterline problems, knob and tube wiring, and dimmer switches can all be problems. And a strong Wi-Fi signal in your house can also stress your body. It's worth considering. If you can turn off your Wi-Fi when you're asleep, you'll give your body a little bit of lower stress time. Then, of course, the other huge exposure we all have is to our cell phones and to cell towers in our environment. Both emit microwaves, and so do everyone else's cell phones that come within 4 feet of you. Not surprisingly, 72% of cell phone safety studies paid for by telecommunication companies show no effect, and only 28% are negative. Of independently funded studies, only 33% showed no effect, while 67% were negative. Swedish studies show heavy cell phone users have a 240% increased risk of brain cancer on the side where they talk on their phone. People who start using cell phones before the age of 20 have a 5 times increased risk of brain tumors. People who live near cell towers have increased incidence of Hodgkin's disease and leukemia. One Israeli study showed that people who live near cell towers are 4 times more likely to get breast cancer, Hodgkin's disease, and cancers of the bone, kidney, ovary, and lung than people who don't. There's a disease that's been known about since the 1950s called radio wave sickness. It was first described in communication officers in the military. It totally makes me think of Radar O'Reilly, but I don't think he ever had radio wave sickness. They should have made that a MASH episode. The symptoms are sleep disruption, headaches, dizziness, depression, concentration problems, and muscle fatigue. Those are the type of nondescript symptoms that can affect people who live or work near cell towers. It's best not to live within 1/3 of a mile of a cell tower if you can avoid it. There's a free website called antennasearch.com that will tell you where registered cell towers are in relation to where you live, work, or otherwise hang out. I've compiled a whole bunch of links for you. That will be one of them because it's just kind of fun to see. I found out that there are 11 cell towers and 128 antennas within a 3-mile radius of my house. The closest one is 1.2 miles away, so that made me feel good. There are 135 towers and 440 antennas within 3 miles of my one job, and 114 towers and 1,165 antennas within 3 miles of my other job. That's a lot of antennas. Cell phones operate in the electromagnetic spectrum assigned to radio waves, which is between the frequencies of FM radio and infrared light. It's a lot less than what is used at like a radar or satellite station. But the carrier waves used to convey packets of digital information are within the human body's ability to detect. And the farther you are away from a cell tower, the more power your phone needs to generate to be able to connect to that tower. So your phone puts out a stronger radio wave when it has to work harder to connect to a tower. It also has to work harder when you're moving at high speeds because it's continuously searching for and connecting to the next tower as you travel. And using it inside a car exposes you to higher EMF because the waves kind of bounce around like they're inside an echo chamber. Also, the radio signal is stronger while it's trying to connect than after the call is connected. So at the very least, you could keep the phone away from your head while it's dialing and not bring it up to your ear till after you hear someone say hello. The best thing you can do about your cell phone is to keep it 4 feet away from your body or more as often as possible. Don't sleep with it near your body for sure. Keep it in your purse instead of your pocket if possible. Don't hold it up to your head when you talk. I know these all kind of sound like things that weirdos do, but I do think you can lower the amount of stress on your body by doing the easy and simple thing of not having your cell phone directly on your person when not absolutely necessary. When it's time to get a new phone, you can check the SAR rating before you decide which one to buy, or if you're just curious about the one you already have. SAR stands for Specific Absorption Rate, which is a measure of the maximum energy absorbed by human body tissue. It's supposed to be listed in your instruction manual, and you can also find it at fcc.gov/cgb/SAR or www.ewg.org. I'll put those 2 links on the resource page too. There's a lot of info out there about SAR ratings and what each level means, but just know that the lower, the better. I'm going to have tons of resources available for you if you want to dive deeper into any of these. I do think it's worth your time to protect yourself and your ability to be resilient. Why add stress that your body has to figure out how to deal with if you don't have to? And a lot of this is like one and done kind of stuff. You can go to http://healthcourage.ck.page/EMF for a free list of a bunch of resources all in one place, or you can just go to my website, healthcouragecollective.com, or click the link in the show notes. Okay, so the last big exposure we'll mention is medical imaging. It seems obvious that you don't want to just go around getting x-rays willy-nilly, but half of the average American's radiation exposure comes from medical imaging. And we have the world's highest per-person imaging rate, much of which is actually unnecessary. According to Dr. Ann Gittleman, 2% of all cancers in the US come from medical image radiation. That's 1 out of 50 cancers. So it's important to work with your doctor to understand the necessity of the X-ray, CAT scan, or MRI, or whatever they're ordering before you agree to do it. Some tests are essential and life-saving, and you should definitely do them. But if it's not 100% necessary, there might be other alternatives or ways to rule things out. It can be kind of a fine line to resist what your doctor is recommending in a nice but firm way and try to work together to find a solution that feels good to both of you. But it is worth your time and awkwardness to keep your lifetime radiation exposure as low as possible. Ann Gittleman has a recipe for a therapeutic bath that she recommends taking if you can't avoid having to be exposed to radiation or EMF. So I'll put that recipe on the resource sheet too. Oh, I know I said that was the last hazard we were going to talk about, but one more thing, sorry. Most soils contain a little bit of uranium, and uranium's natural decay gives off a naturally radioactive gas called radon. The gas can seep out of the soil and into the cracks in the foundation of your home and start to build up inside your house. Radon is invisible and completely odorless, and the only way you can know if you have it in your house is to test for it. Some people think that the highest radiation exposure of your lifetime is from the radon in your home. Could be true, depending on your level. Lots of people don't have much radon at all. Radon is well established as the number 2 cause of lung cancer after smoking. And if you smoke and have radon in your house, you're really in for trouble. You can get a home test or have someone come do a radon test for you. Before we finished our basement, we did a home test and it was high. So we called a mitigation company and they did a more extensive test, which ended up with the exact same results. So we had a mitigation system installed that sucks the air out from under our foundation and blows it up and away from the top of our house. Mitigation is proven to be extremely effective. We tested afterward just for fun because we like experiments, and the level was way below the safe threshold afterward. You want your radon level less than 4. Just to give you an idea, if your level is 20, 36 of every 1,000 people exposed to that level would get lung cancer. If it's 4, 7 out of 1,000 people would get lung cancer. Less than that if less than 4. I don't remember for sure, but I want to say ours was like 15 or something before mitigation and 1.2 after or something. I could be making that up. Memories are not always accurate. We don't really know all of the effects of all of this electropollution on our health, unfortunately, but we do know that certain types of radiation cause cancer and that low-level exposure to all of our electronic devices, appliances, cell phones, Wi-Fi, power lines, and cell towers does affect our body. Electrosmog interrupts your nervous system, pushing you ever so slightly out of parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest, and a bit into sympathetic, which is fight or flight, which raises your cortisol. Having chronically high cortisol levels raises your blood sugar, decreases your immune system, increases your risk of cancer and autoimmune disease, disturbs your sleep cycles, and tons of other bad stuff. And electropollution can cause your body to have to do more cleanup with glutathione, your master antioxidant. So an important strategy, in addition to reducing your exposure to the point that you reasonably can, is to make sure you have enough glutathione building blocks and do the other things to manage your cortisol levels. I can help you come up with an intelligent and non-overwhelming plan to do this. N-acetylcysteine is a great supplement to help your body be able to make more glutathione. You can also get glutathione as a supplement, but you have to be picky about which brand you choose. Anne Gittleman explains in her book that the first line of defense against EMF damage to your body is to make sure you have enough minerals. Minerals are the electrolytes that allow your cells to hold a charge and maintain their osmotic pressure, which keeps the cells from rupturing. Our bodies are masters at orchestrating this perfect use of all of its resources. The constant presence of EMFs can cause us to rapidly use up our mineral or electrolyte stores to deal with the threats to our cell membranes, and then we can't use those to make the SOD and glutathione and melatonin that we need to thrive and resist infections, make new baby cells that are healthy and strong, regulate our fluid levels, fold our proteins perfectly, strengthen our bones, and assist in basically every body response that minerals are needed for. She recommends giving your body support against EMF stress by making sure you have adequate levels of magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, manganese, selenium, chromium, zinc, and copper. She also recommends supplementing with melatonin, N-acetylcysteine, vitamin D, milk thistle, alpha-lipoic acid, CoQ10, sea buckthorn, and or whey protein as options to protect yourself from the damages of electropollution. Another potential help is grounding or earthing. That's a whole nother conversation. Send me a message at healthcouragecollective@gmail.com if you want to hear more about earthing or grounding. I've had an earthing mat for, 6 or 7 years, I think. And I think it helps. I often take my shoes off outside in the summer for a few minutes and my kids will be like, "Are you earthing yourself?" Yep. It's one of those things that you kind of just have to believe in. I do it because I believe in it enough to think it's beneficial, kind of like structuring my water, but I also just think it's kind of fun. I do think it helps, but I 100% acknowledge that any noticeable effects are highly likely to be placebo effects, but I still like it. There are studies that show that grounding neutralizes the interference of EMFs with our normal electrical communication between cells, and grounding has been shown to make your blood less likely to clot, reduces nighttime cortisol, improves sleep, lowers inflammation, improves blood flow, reduces pain, and speeds healing. There are also quantum energy products that claim to help reduce the harmful effects of EMFs on your body. I can't even pretend to understand how they're supposed to work, but they are items that are somehow infused with a kind of quantum energy that vibrates at a healing frequency. So it provides your body with some harmonious waves amidst all the chaotic ones. It sounds weird, but I do think there's something to it. Somavedic is one. I've wanted one for a while, but they're really expensive. Another company is Lila Q Quantum. They have some pretty pricey stuff too, but I have a little Lila Q card that's the size of a credit card that I carry around with me to help neutralize the harmful effects of EMFs on me. Let's see. It's right here in my pocket. It's like a little metallic credit card. I've had it for a month or so. Have I noticed a profound difference in how I feel? No, but I'm not overly sensitive to EMFs, and it does make me happy, and I like sleeping with it in my pillowcase at night. So I hope you've learned something helpful last week and today about electromagnetic fields and how they might be affecting your health. They're easy to ignore, but that doesn't mean that we should. We really can't get away from all the electronic magic that is happening all around us all the time, but our bodies are fundamentally electric. There's not a question as to whether electropollution affects us. It's a matter of understanding how much. It's probably more than we think, and a few little tweaks to our routine could significantly alleviate some of the additional stress that this omnipresent radiation is putting on our bodies. Reducing unnecessary chronic stress allows our body to use its resources and energy to do amazing things instead of just damage control and threat mitigation. My opinion is that aside from the few exquisitely sensitive people out there, most people can survive in a world chock full of electromagnetic fields. But it's a lot harder to thrive, to see what you're really capable of if you're constantly being dinged with tiny bits of radiation. What do you think? Remember to download your EMF resource sheet at healthcourage.ck.page/EMF for a ton of helpful resources. There are website links, a book list, education resources, lists of companies that do EMF testing and mitigation, the recipe for that therapeutic bath, and my favorite, a list of helpful products that can make reducing your exposure easier and more fun. Most of it comes from Anne Gittleman's book, Zapped, so you could definitely just check that out from the library instead. But I've updated and added some stuff, and everything is in clickable link format. It took me a long time to type it all up, so I genuinely hope it helps save you some time. I need to repaint our bedroom, and I really want to prime it all in EMF blocking paint, but I think that'd be a pretty hard sell to get my husband to agree to. Plus, I can see the disadvantages of not having Wi-Fi in there, but I still love the idea. There are also all kinds of canopy mesh fabric, so you could mosquito net yourself in if you had a canopy or four-poster bed, which I don't. Anyhow, it's just fun to look around. They have lots of great shielding options that I never would have thought of, and the clothing is all modeled on creepy-looking mannequins, so that makes it fun. I decided to buy a little pad that I'm going to put under my laptop while I work and some fabric to put inside my duvet cover as a shielding blanket while I sleep, just to get started. I hope you've discovered or recommitted to an easy idea you can implement to protect your electric body from the constant stress of electromagnetic fields. Maybe it's not using your cell phone as an alarm clock, keeping it out of your bedroom, unplugging electrical devices and appliances when they're not in use, keeping your phone out of your pocket more often, or ironing a shield into your pocket if you can't, stepping away from the microwave while it's running, putting a timer on your Wi-Fi router so it turns off while you're asleep, shielding your lap from your laptop, saying no to an optional medical imaging test, testing your electropollution level, or testing your house for radon. As always, don't make it overwhelming. Little things do matter. Your low-level stress levels matter. Remember to download your free EMF resource guide for all of the non-overwhelming electropollution exploring that you'll want to do. Thank you so much for your attention today and last week. You are so awesome. Next week, we're going to talk about how you can age at an elite level by doing things now to prevent the decline of something nobody really ever talks about. Until then, put a little more distance between you and your electronics, and don't be normal. Thank you so much for tuning into the Health Courage Collective podcast. I am truly honored that you have paid me the enormous compliment of your time and attention. I would be so grateful if you would share this podcast with someone you know and subscribe so you never miss an episode. This podcast is for entertainment and information purposes only. Statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Christina Hackett and producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse events by use of information contained herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.